What if I told you that asterisk, the real test of loyalty isn't who stands beside you when you're broken, but who remains when you rise asterisk? This isn't just another speech about friendships or trust. This is a wake-up call to reevaluate the people you surround yourself with when things go right. Because when you start winning, when your life starts aligning, when your light begins to shine brighter, that's when the masks fall off. Some will celebrate you, others will retreat. And the difference between the two, it could shape the entire trajectory of your future. This message isn't for the faint of heart. It's for those ready to level up and face the uncomfortable truth. Not everyone who comforts you in the storm is capable of standing with you in the sunshine. In this video, we'll uncover the silent dynamics that shape your relationships, the hidden resistance to your success, and why emotional maturity matters more than shared struggle. You're about to learn how to protect your peace, honor your growth, and walk with people who push you forward, not pull you back. So don't just watch casually, lean in, let this message challenge you, let it inspire you. Because by the end of this video, you won't just think differently about who's around you, you'll feel empowered to choose better, love wiser, and rise stronger asterisk. Let's begin. When life goes wrong, support often arrives without asking. People show up, offer sympathy, lend a hand, and share in the weight of hardship. But what happens when life goes right? When you get the promotion, when the business starts thriving, when you finally win after years of effort, who do you call then? That question isn't just about celebration. It's a litmus test for who truly stands with you, not just beside you when things fall apart, but behind you when you rise. It's easy to love someone who is struggling, because struggle doesn't threaten anyone. Struggle creates connection through empathy. But success challenges people. It forces them to look at their own lives. It reflects back to them what they might not be doing, what they haven't yet become, or what they've given up on. That's why the people who cheer for you in your darkest moments aren't always the same ones who will cheer for you in your brightest. You see, true relationships are tested not only in suffering but in celebration. Who you call when something good happens will reveal the real ones. Because in a world where envy often wears the mask of friendship, and comparison quietly poisons connection, it's rare to find someone who is genuinely happy for your happiness, without any hidden resentment or subtle competition. Those who show up with joy for your joy are the ones you should hold close. They don't flinch at your success. They don't need you to shrink so they can feel bigger. They aren't secretly uncomfortable when you win. Instead, they smile wider, shout louder, and push you further. This truth matters not just for emotional health, but for your long-term growth. The people you surround yourself with in moments of success influence how high you're willing to go. If you are surrounded by those who only see your potential when you're hurting, you'll unconsciously keep yourself broken to maintain connection. You'll play small so others don't feel left behind, and you'll learn to hide your wins to protect their insecurities. But that's not growth. That's emotional imprisonment. And it's a cost too many pay just to stay liked. The ones who belong in your life are the ones who can handle both your tears and your triumphs. They are the people who clap when you speak your dreams out loud, not just when you mourn your disappointment. They ask, how can I help you grow even more? Not why are you changing? They don't get uncomfortable when your light gets brighter. They adjust their position so it can shine on both of you. Your wins don't make them feel less than. Your joy becomes their joy. That's how you know you're safe. So ask yourself honestly, when something good happens, who do you reach for? Who do you trust enough to say, it finally happened, without filtering your excitement or downplaying your achievement? If you hesitate, that hesitation is a signal. It tells you where loyalty ends and comfort begins. Because loyalty isn't about staying when things are tough. That's only half the story. Loyalty is proven when someone stays when things are changing for the better. When they see you elevate and they don't retreat. When your progress doesn't provoke their insecurity. When your growth inspires their own. The next time something beautiful unfolds in your life, pay close attention to who celebrates with you. That celebration is often the most honest mirror of their heart. And maybe, just maybe, that's the clarity you've needed all along. Most people build relationships around shared experiences. And more often than not, those shared experiences are rooted in pain, trauma, or struggle. It's human nature to bond over brokenness. We find comfort in those who understand our wounds. But while pain may be a common starting point, it should not be the foundation you build your future on. When your inner circle is built on mutual wounds rather than mutual values, you create an environment that feels familiar but not necessarily healthy. These kinds of connections can become emotional traps. You begin to believe that the only people who truly understand you are the ones who have suffered like you. And without even realizing it, you build a tribe that supports your past but doesn't support your growth. There's nothing wrong with empathy or understanding. But the danger lies in staying bonded by wounds that were meant to heal. When you continue surrounding yourself with people who only relate to your lowest moments, you risk becoming someone who subconsciously remains in those moments just to keep the relationship alive. You start filtering your progress, downplaying your success, and resisting transformation just to avoid losing the people who were there for you when you were struggling. You begin to feel guilty for growing. That guilt keeps you tied to a version of yourself that's no longer serving your highest potential. And that's a tragedy most people never see coming. The truth is, your inner circle should reflect your values, not your wounds. Values are the core of who you are becoming. They are the driving force behind your decisions, your goals, your energy, and your future. When you choose people based on shared values, you align yourself with individuals who want to see you win, not just survive. These are the people who encourage healing, who push you to step into the next chapter, and who remind you of your strength when you start slipping back into old patterns. They don't need you to be broken to feel close to you. They're just as connected to your purpose as they were to your pain. That kind of alignment doesn't just lift your emotional well-being, it fuels your momentum. Because when you're surrounded by people who believe in your values, your environment becomes a mirror of your future instead of a reminder of your past. Suddenly your goals don't feel too big. Your ideas aren't dismissed. Your healing isn't threatening. You don't feel the need to explain why you're changing, because those around you are evolving too. Growth becomes normal, not uncomfortable. And that's when you know you're in the right room. But to get to that kind of space, you have to be willing to let go of the connections that only made sense when you were hurting. You have to get honest with yourself about who you've outgrown, not because they're bad people, but because they were only meant to walk with you through a certain season. It takes courage to say, I'm not who I was, and allow that to change the dynamics of your relationships. It takes maturity to prioritize alignment over attachment. And it takes vision to stop choosing company that keeps you comfortable in the past. You were never meant to stay in survival mode. You were built for growth, impact, and purpose. The people you choose to keep close should reflect that reality. So when you think about your inner circle, ask yourself, are these people tied to my purpose, or are they only familiar with my pain? If you want to rise, start building your life around shared values, not shared suffering. That's how you build a future that doesn't just look better, it feels better too. Envy is one of the most deceptive emotions we encounter in relationships, especially during moments of success. It doesn't always show up with hostility. It doesn't always look like resistance. Often it wears a smile. It claps politely. It says the right words. I'm so happy for you. You deserve this. That's amazing. But beneath those words, there's an energy you can't ignore. It's not loud. It's subtle. It lingers in the pauses, in the hesitation, in the tone that doesn't quite match the message. And if you're paying attention, you'll sense it. That's envy hiding behind fake congratulations, and it's more common than we'd like to admit. We all want to believe that the people in our lives will be just as happy for our wins as they are supportive during our losses. But human nature doesn't always make that easy. People compare. People project. And when someone close to you sees you doing what they haven't yet done, it can trigger insecurity they're not ready to confront. Instead of saying, I wish I could do that too, they bury that feeling and put on a smile. They try to be supportive, but deep down they're wrestling with jealousy. And instead of celebrating with you, they begin to resent you, silently, subtly, and sometimes unconsciously. This doesn't make them bad people, it makes them human. But it's dangerous to ignore. Because when you surround yourself with people who secretly envy you, your environment becomes one of hidden resistance. You'll feel it in the way they question your decisions, not out of curiosity, but from a place of doubt. You'll hear it in the way they remind you of your past, as if to keep you grounded in who you used to be. You'll notice it when your wins are met with lukewarm energy, or quickly redirected conversations. These behaviors may seem small in the moment, but they compound over time and begin to erode your self-belief. When someone envies you, they often won't confront you directly. Instead, they'll subtly undermine your progress. They'll mask their discomfort with sarcasm, passive-aggressive comments, or by making your success feel like a burden. They'll pretend they're cheering for you, but their presence will leave you feeling drained instead of inspired. And if you're not careful, you'll internalize that energy. You'll start second-guessing yourself. You'll start shrinking to make others feel comfortable. You'll stop celebrating your wins out loud. You'll learn to hide your light to protect their shadows. And that's a tragedy, because your success should be a source of strength, not a trigger for someone else's weakness. The solution isn't to walk around suspicious of everyone. It's to trust your intuition and observe the energy behind the words. Real support is consistent. It's loud when you win. It's present when you rise. It doesn't feel like tension or hesitation. It feels like alignment. It feels like freedom. The people who truly celebrate you don't compete with you. They're not intimidated by your growth, they're inspired by it. They ask you how you did it, not to tear you down, but to learn how to rise alongside you. They don't flinch when you succeed, they flourish too. So as you grow, learn to listen beyond words. Watch the energy. Pay attention to how people react when you share good news. The ones who genuinely care will match your joy. They won't fake it. They won't hold back. They'll be loud, proud, and consistent. That's how you know it's real, and when you find those people, hold them close. Because in a world where envy is often disguised as support, authentic celebration is priceless. It's not about who says they're happy for you, it's about who shows it with their whole spirit. When life is hard, people gather. They bring comfort, empathy, and compassion. You're never short of shoulders to cry on or ears willing to listen. Struggle brings people together because it activates something primal in us. We are wired to help each other survive. But when life is good, when the storm is over and you're walking in the light, something shifts. The crowd thins. The check-ins slow down. The concern is replaced by silence. You begin to notice that some of the people who were there when you were at your lowest are suddenly distant when you're rising. It's a truth few are willing to admit. Not everyone who supports you in pain will support you in prosperity. There's a comfort in being the helper, the hero, the one who stood by you when things were tough. Some people find their identity in being needed. They thrive when you are dependent, when you are vulnerable, when you are unsure of yourself. They feel significant when they get to rescue you. But when you begin to heal, when you start believing in yourself, when your needs shift from survival to growth, those same people can feel irrelevant. Not because you made them feel that way, but because your healing changed the dynamic they had become comfortable with. They knew who they were when you were broken. They're not sure who they are now that you're strong. This is the part of growth no one talks about. We're told to overcome, to push forward, to evolve. But we're not told that our evolution might threaten the bonds that were formed during our suffering. We're not told that healing can be lonely. We're not warned that success can make others uncomfortable. And so we find ourselves confused when the love that once felt so warm turns cold. When the same people who wiped our tears now look away when we smile. When the energy we thought was unconditional suddenly feels heavy with resentment. You must understand that people are not always equipped to handle the best version of you. Some relationships were built in darkness and were never meant to survive the light. It doesn't make those people villains. It just means they were seasonal. They played their role in your survival. But not everyone who helps you survive is meant to help you thrive. That's why discernment is so important. You have to recognize who is truly aligned with your future, not just your past. Who celebrates your breakthroughs, not just your breakdowns. Who checks in when things are good, not just when things fall apart. Growth requires support that isn't situational. It requires people who don't just find joy in fixing you but find fulfillment in seeing you free. You need people who are not threatened by your confidence, your clarity, or your calling. People who encourage your independence, not your dependence. Because real love doesn't fade when the crisis ends. Real friendship doesn't go quiet when the chaos stops. The right people will not just show up for your battles, they'll stay for your blessings. So when things start going well for you, take note of who's still around. Pay attention to who calls, who claps, who truly cares. Celebrate those people. And for the ones who fade, let them go without bitterness. They served their purpose, and now it's time to move forward with those who can walk with you into the light. Because the next chapter of your life will require relationships that are built not on what you've endured, but on where you're headed. That's how you protect your peace, your progress, and your purpose. It's easy to see who's with you when you're in pain. When the world feels like it's crumbling and you have nothing to offer but your vulnerability. In those moments, empathy flows naturally. People relate to struggle. They understand fear, doubt, and hardship. They may not have all the answers, but they know how to sit with you in the mess. It makes them feel connected, even needed. But the real challenge is discovering who stays connected when you're no longer in pieces, when you rise, when you start winning, when you step into your purpose and claim the life that once seemed impossible. That's when the masks come off. That's when you truly see people for who they are. The truth is, your success will reveal more about your circle than your suffering ever will. When you start shining, you don't just become more visible, you become a mirror. Your growth reflects back to others what they aren't doing, what they haven't become, and what they've been avoiding. Your courage to level up exposes their hesitation. Your discipline makes their excuses uncomfortable. Your clarity becomes a spotlight that they may not be ready to stand under, and in response they may pull away. Not because you've changed, but because your change reminds them of their own stagnation. Not everyone has the capacity to grow with you. Some people were aligned with your brokenness. They resonated with the version of you that questioned your worth, second-guessed your value, and doubted your dreams. That version of you didn't threaten their identity. That version of you kept the relationship dynamic safe and predictable. But when you rise, when you take your place with confidence and purpose, that dynamic changes. And not everyone welcomes that change. Some will resist it, others will resent it. And a few might even try to sabotage it. Not because they hate you, but because they fear what your success means for them. This is where emotional maturity becomes essential. You have to recognize that some people can't clap for you, not because they're bad, but because they're hurting. Your joy reminds them of their pain. Your elevation reminds them of their plateau. Your light, though unintentional, casts a shadow over their excuses. And when people feel small next to you, they often react by trying to shrink you. They'll downplay your wins. They'll joke about your progress. They'll bring up your past not to celebrate how far you've come, but to tether you to who you used to be. It's a defense mechanism, but it's also a sign. It shows you where the loyalty ends and the insecurity begins. What you do next matters. You could shrink to fit their comfort zone, but that serves no one. You could beg for their approval, but that's a game you'll never win. Or you could accept that growth comes with distance. That not everyone is meant to go where you're going. And that's okay. Because real alignment isn't proven when you're at the bottom, it's proven when you rise. The people who are truly for you won't flinch when you level up. They won't get quiet when you speak with boldness. They won't disappear when the celebration begins. They'll be louder, prouder, and more supportive because they're not just here for your pain, they're here for your purpose. So when things start going well and your circle starts to shift, don't panic. Don't chase those who fade. Let their absence make room for the right people. People who are secure enough to celebrate your growth, confident enough to grow with you, and self-aware enough to know that your light doesn't dim theirs. That's the kind of company you deserve on the journey to your highest self. We all crave connection. We want to belong. We want to be seen, understood, valued. And often we form those bonds through shared struggle. The people who comfort us in crisis, who stand beside us when everything is falling apart, they earn a place in our hearts. We believe they are our true support system. And in many cases they are, but not always. Because emotional support during hard times doesn't always equal emotional maturity. Someone can sit with you in your pain and still not have the strength to support your progress. Someone can listen to you when you're crying and still feel threatened when you're celebrating. That's the paradox of support. It's easy to show up for someone who's broken. It's much harder to stay when they become whole. Growth changes the emotional temperature of your life. You become less reactive, more focused, and more intentional. The chaos that once connected you to others starts to fade. You stop repeating the same stories, the same patterns, the same conversations. And that shift creates a subtle discomfort for people who haven't done their own work. You no longer need the same level of reassurance. You don't need rescuing. You're not leaning on others the way you used to. And to someone who built their identity around being your emotional anchor, that change can feel like rejection. But it's not rejection, it's evolution. And evolution demands clarity. You must begin to discern the difference between those who genuinely care about your well-being and those who are emotionally attached to your woundedness. The former want to see you heal, even if that means you become more independent. The latter want to keep you close by keeping you small. Their support is real, but it's conditional. It's wrapped in unspoken expectations. As long as you're down, they're present. But the moment you stand tall, they feel displaced. That's not love, that's dependence. And emotional dependence masquerading as loyalty is one of the most dangerous dynamics in personal growth. This is where your internal compass becomes critical. You have to ask yourself, am I keeping people around out of gratitude or alignment? Gratitude for what someone did for you is valid. But if that gratitude is chaining you to emotional patterns that no longer serve your growth, you're not honoring their help, you're dishonoring your future. The people who truly want to see you rise won't ask you to dim your light to keep them comfortable. They'll do their own work. They'll grow too. They'll evolve alongside you. That's what mature relationships look like. They're not based on need, they're based on mutual respect, shared vision, and individual responsibility. As you continue to grow, your emotional needs change. You no longer seek people to fix you. You seek people who challenge you, who inspire you, who hold space for your power as well as your pain. You want relationships where you can be your full self, messy, magnificent, evolving. And to have those relationships, you must be willing to outgrow the ones that only function in dysfunction. That doesn't make you ungrateful, it makes you clear. Clarity is not cruelty, it's integrity. And emotional integrity demands that you stop confusing comfort with compatibility. You are not responsible for managing other people's feelings about your growth. You are responsible for honoring your potential, for protecting your peace, and for surrounding yourself with people who want to see all of you, especially the part that's rising. Don't shrink to maintain harmony. Don't apologize for becoming whole. The people who are meant for you will not be intimidated by your evolution. They will rise with you, not resist you, and that's how you know they're real. Not just crisis companions, but destiny companions. The kind who don't just show up when you're down, but stay when you finally get back up. When things go good in your life, when the breakthroughs arrive, when the doors you prayed for finally open, look around. Pay attention, because the people who truly matter won't distance themselves from your growth, they'll draw closer. They won't shrink in the presence of your light, they'll reflect it. They won't remind you of who you used to be to keep you grounded, they'll push you toward who you're becoming. This isn't about judging others, it's about honoring yourself. It's about recognizing that not everyone is meant to walk with you into your next chapter, and that's okay. Growth is a journey of elevation and separation, and the higher you go, the clearer everything becomes, especially your relationships. Keep those close who clap when you win. Keep those who challenge you to grow, even when it's uncomfortable. Surround yourself with people who love you enough to celebrate your joy just as deeply as they sat with your pain. Because that asterisk is real loyalty. That asterisk is the kind of support that doesn't fade when your life starts to shine. Thank you for watching, reflecting, and growing with us. If this message spoke to something deep inside you, share it. Someone you know may need this exact reminder today. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more powerful insights, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a moment of transformation. Stay true, stay rising, and most of all, stay ready. Because the best version of you is just getting started.